started on what I want. So up there at the top is just a summary of everything that I just did. Okay, so you have the summary here. You also have the lecture notes that I just gave you as far as examples on how to draw them. This is going to be the easiest 5 points you're ever going to have in this class. You're just going to draw each of these vectors separately. Okay? So you have vector A, 5 centimeters at 0 degrees. So do this on another sheet of paper. Do not do this here. You can do it on graph paper, notebook paper, plain paper, whatever works for you. So you are actually going to draw out a line and you are going to measure 5 centimeters. Not 5 squares, 5 centimeters. Okay? You're going to draw a line 5 centimeters. You're going to call that vector A. If you want to write out 5 centimeters at 0 degrees, that's cool. Whatever works. But at least label it A. Now, a word of advice when you're drawing vectors. These have to be done precisely. Sharp pencil. Okay, if you haven't sharpened your pencil for a while, sharpen it. So when you draw that line 5 centimeters long, don't put the arrow on the end of it and make the line even longer. Okay? So that 5 centimeters is the length of the line. When you draw that arrowhead on the end of it, put it back like that so that the arrow isn't making the line longer. You need the arrow to indicate which direction that it's pointing. But don't let the arrow, tip of the arrow, add to the length of your vector. Now, at this point, this is up to you. If you want to draw A, B, C, D, and E all from the same center, you can. If you think that's going to get confusing and you want to draw each one separately, that's cool. I don't care. But now, let's talk about vector D, because vector D is a little sketchy. So vector D is 6 centimeters at 250 degrees. So what that means is that here's your X and Y system. So D is at 250, which puts you down here, okay? But unless you have a 360-degree protractor, you don't have 250 degrees. But you can get to here, which would get you what? 180, and then you're going to add 70 to it. So you're going to come in here from the end of this, go down 70, and then you're going to draw that line, and then there's going to be vector D. The only reason I'm having you draw these is so that you have a visual idea of where these are when you actually start to begin to add them together. So like I said, you can draw them all from the X and Y system, or draw them separately, I don't care. Okay, but just draw these vectors. The next part, you are going to do all of these separately. You do not have a choice. These are all going to be done separately. So on number 2, you want to draw 2B. Okay? Well, you want to draw vector 2B. So B is 3 centimeters at 90 degrees. So how are you going to draw 2B?
6 centimeters.
6 centimeters at 90. So 2B is just going to be basically a B and a B. That's all you have to draw. Okay? 90 degrees. That's it. You have 1/3 D. So D is going to be pointing in the same direction, but it's going to be 1/3 as long. Now, 2, that last one, you have that -1/2 A. So you're going to take vector A, you're going to flip it around 180 degrees, but then you're going to make it half as long. Okay? Now, here's the heart and soul of this, is when you get down to number 3. So I'm going to make a sketch of what number 3 is going to look like. So on number 3, you have B plus D. That number 2, where I've got 2B, 1/3 D, -1/2, you are not adding those together on number 2. You're just drawing those as separate vectors. Don't add them together until I start putting plus signs in there. Then you're going to start to add these vectors together. So on number 3, here's what I want. You're going to have B plus D. So what I would recommend is that here's going to be your X and Y coordinate system. Measure up 3 centimeters. There's going to be vector B. Boom, draw vector B. Then you have to do D. D now becomes a new X and Y system. So from the end of this, I'm gonna measure around 70 degrees to get to that 250, okay? So I'm gonna draw that coming around here like this. Boom. There's my vector D. So I came up 3, and then from the end of that I drew vector D. So what you're after is the resultant. So that resultant is going to go from that origin out to here. So clearly, this angle has to be more than 180, but less than 270. So measure that angle, take your protractor, measure this angle here, from that negative x-axis to here. Measure that angle, let's say that's 35 degrees, whatever that is. So then I'm going to take 35 plus 180 and go, oh, that's 5, 11, 215 degrees. So my resultant is going to be, I don't know, 5.5 centimeters at 215 degrees. That's a very, very crude estimate. Don't think that's the answer. For God's sakes, that is not the answer. Okay? That's just the process that you're going to do. So, on another sheet of paper, clearly labeled, you're going to draw these vectors. You're going to add them together. Stop when you get to number 9, because then you're going to be into trig functions. Okay? So, for tomorrow, just get through number 8. Do not worry about number 9, because we'll deal with trig functions tomorrow. So if you need to borrow a protractor, I've got some over here, okay? But if you don't have them, get them, because we're going to use them a lot in this class. So I've done your own, stop the camera.